Okay. We're holding today Daf Lamed Hey.
Good afternoon.
And to you. Daf Lamed Hey. Okay, so we're going to the last three words on Daf Lamed Daled Lamed Beis. It says about the Meraglim, Vayashuvu mitur ha'aretz. They returned from spying out the land. Vayelchu vayavayu, and they went and they came. Rashi says, Vayelchu vayavayu legar sinan. Uksiv vayelchu yisedahu. Kivin dechsiv le'il vayashuvu lehav le'meimer ela vayavayu el Moshe. Anyway, the question is, why does it say Vayelchu? Amar Rabbi Yechanan said, Mishum Rav Shimon ben Yochai, in the name of Rav Shimon ben Yochai, Makish Halicha Labiyah. The Vayelchu Vayavayu is to be Makish Halicha Labiyah, to tell you that their going was similar to their coming. Ma Biyah Be'etzara, just as it's obvious that they came back with bad counsel. Halicha Be'etzara, so when they went L'chatchila, they went with bad counsel. So the Meraglim didn't become sour on their travel. They went l'chatchila to mess things up. It says they told him that we come to the land that you sent us. And it says that the nation that lives there is very fierce. Amar Rabbi Yechanan said, Yishum Reb Meir, the name of Reb Meir, any lashon hara that doesn't have a little bit of truth in the beginning will not be able to last in the long run. So they had to put in a little bit of truth. That's why they started off with praising the land. Instead, we came to the land that you sent us, and it's Zavas Cholav Udvash. It's a land that flows with milk and honey. So why did they say nice things about Eretz Yisrael if they were trying to slander Eretz Yisrael? Because they knew that any lashon hara that doesn't have some truth in it will not be able to do the job. It says Kalev silenced the nation to Moshe. Amar Rabba said she sees some bidvarim. He drew them in with words. Pasach Yeshua the Kamishtoin. So Yeshua started speaking first. Amri Lei, they said to him, Dein Reish Katiya Yimalo. This Reish Katiya, someone with a chopped off head, should speak. Why is he called a Reish Katiya? I believe because he had no children. Rashi says he'll be able. He should speak in front of. He should speak to us. Amar, so Kale figured, if I'm going to try to speak to them and tell them the opposite of what they want to hear, Amri Beimil, so they'll figure out something to say to me, and they'll silence me. Amar Lahem, so he said to them, he figured I have to say something that they want to hear. And that way they'll listen to me. Amar Lahem, so he said to them, you think this is the only thing that Moshe Rabbeinu did to us? So they thought that he's going to say derogatory things about Moshe Rabbeinu. Ishtiku, so they were all silent because they wanted to hear derogatory things about Moshe Rabbeinu. Amar Luhu, so Kalev said to them, is this all that Moshe did for us? I'll tell you what else he did for us. He took us out of Egypt, to Karolanu was Hayam, and he split the sea for us. Nechilanu was Haman, he fed us the man. If he tells us to make ladders and climb to heaven, should we not listen to him? So we will surely go up to the land and inherit it, etc. But the other people, the other Meraglim that came with him, they said, we're not going to be able to pull it off. We won't be able to conquer Eretz Yisrael. Reb Chamer bar Papa said, Meraglim said something very big at that moment. He said, because the Kanainim, the people that live in Eretz Yisrael, are stronger than him. So the word mimenu can be translated than us, which is nishgeferlach. They're stronger than us. But al tikra mimenu el mimenu kvayachol. Don't read the word mimenu from us, but they're stronger than him as if it were. I feel the balabayis saying yachol heitzikei lo bisham. They said it's like an analogy of a homeowner who brought in very heavy furniture into his home, and he himself can't even move them out. So he said Hashem is taka the balabas. He's like the homeowner of the world, but the Kanainim are like the furniture that's too heavy for even the homeowner to move. So Hashem said, he's going to take you to Eretz Yisrael, and he's going to get rid of the Kanainim and settle you in Eretz Yisrael instead. We were there, and we saw that it can't be done. It's more than Hashem can even achieve. Eretz Eichelos Yeshveahi. They said that it's a land that consumes its inhabitants. Davar Ashrava, so Rava taught the meaning of these words, it's a land that consumes its inhabitants in the following way. He said, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter said, Ani chashavti el toiva, I intended it for good. V'heim chashvu l'ra, they used it out for bad. Ani chashavti el toiva, I intended it for good. Chol heichad matum meis chashivadatu. Any city that the Meraglim arrived in, a very important leader in that city died that day. Heichad nitridu, in order that the people of the city should be preoccupied with their mourning and with the funeral. When they shouldn't ask any questions, they shouldn't get suspicious of the Meraglim. They'll be distracted by their mourning, and they won't be able to pick up that these Meraglim are suspicious. And that was to protect the Meraglim. So they came back and they said, it's a land that swallows its inhabitants. Every city we came to, there was a funeral going on. Others say, the Eiv died. And everybody was busy eulogizing him. And they used it out for bad. They said, it's a land that consumes its inhabitants. Then it says, that we were in our own eyes like grasshoppers. And so we were in their eyes. Amar Rav Mesharshias said, the Meraglim were liars. They said, we were in our own eyes like grasshoppers. We were amongst these great giants. We're little people. So we saw ourselves like grasshoppers in comparison to the Knainim. So Mela, they said that we were in our own eyes like grasshoppers. We can accept that. But so we were in their eyes. How did they know how they were in their eyes? But this is not correct, because they did have a way of knowing what the Knainim thought about them. What was that? When they would give their mourners, we said there were a lot of funerals going on. So after the funeral, you serve the mourner the meal, the Suda Savra. So when they were giving the mourners the meal after the funeral, so they would have a custom, the Knainim had a custom to serve this meal after the funeral under a cedar tree. When they saw the Meraglim, Salka Yasve Be'ilane. So the Meraglim went and sat on the trees. They climbed up on the trees so that they can observe what's going on. Shami de Ka'amri, so they heard the Kanainim saying, we've seen people in the trees that look like snails. So they were able to understand how the Kanainim viewed them. It says the entire community broke out. They raised their voices, broke out crying. And they cried. Amar Rabba Yechanan, Rabba said in the name of Rabbi Yechanan, Eisi Hayem Erev Tisha B'Av Hayim. The day the Meraglim came back and gave over their horrible report of Eretz Yisrael was the eve of Tisha B'Av. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so the Eibishter said, Hein Bachel B'chiyah Shel China. They're crying for nothing. Ani Ekbal Lahem B'chiyah L'Deiros. I will make this night a night of crying for all generations. The entire community wanted to stone them. They wanted to stone Yeshua and Kalev. And it says, the glory of Hashem appeared in Oil Meid. So right next to it says they wanted to stone them, and the glory of Hashem appeared in Oil Meid.
Sorry, Rabbi Gordon, I'm a bit back. When it says that they said, and then it says that they were liars. Why? Because they weren't seen like chagavim, but just like something, another insect?
No. How would they know what the Knainim thought about that? Mela, they're saying we were in our own eyes like chagavim. That's okay. But to say that we were in their eyes like Chagavim, how do you know what you were like in their eyes?
So that's the answer when he says that they heard them say.
Gemara says, "Wallahi." It's a good argument, but it's not correct because there was a way for them to know what the Rambam thought about that.
Okay. Thank you.
Pleasure. Amar Reb Chia bar Abba said, "Malamed, this teaches us shenatlu avanim. They took stones, v'zarkum klapi ma'ila, and they threw them upward towards the Shechina. They wanted to stone the Shechina. The people who slandered the land died in a plague. Amar Reb Shimon ben Lakish said, they died a very strange death. Amar Reb Chanina bar Papa said, Darash Reb Shila ish kfar tamarta, that Reb Shila, the Gemara the Asra of Kfar Tamarta explained this. Their tongues were extended and fell on their belly buttons. The tongues became very lengthened, all the way down to their hanging down to their belly buttons. And there were worms coming out of their tongues and entering into their belly buttons, their navels. And there were worms coming out of their navels and going into their tongues. So that was the way they died. Misa Meshuna. Nachman by Yitzchak Amar by Askara Meisur. Nachman by Yitzchak said they choked to death. Askara is an illness that causes choking. So this is all a deviation where we mentioned the Meraglim. And since we mentioned the Meraglim, we have this whole discussion about the Meraglim. But now we're coming back to our previous discussion about the Yarden, which came from the Mishnah. As soon as the last Jew came up from the Jordan, the waters reverted to their natural flow. So the whole story about the waters piling up was only while the Jews were crossing. Once the last Jew crossed the Yarden, the waters returned to their regular flow. As it says, when the Kohanim were carrying the ark of Hashem's covenant, and when they ascended from the Yarden, Nisku kapes raglei haKohanim el hacharava. As soon as the palms of the feet of the Kohanim stepped on dry land, the waters of the Yarden returned to their place. They flowed as before.
It's interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt. It's interesting that Askara, according to the art scroll, it sounds very similar to what we're going through at the moment. In the inflammation of the throat that begins in the digestive tract, it can causes the breathing passages to become blocked and leads to strangulation.
There's only shvism from them.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on, sorry.
Yeah. No, I thought the same thing. So the waters of the Yarden reverted to their normal flow, and they went full height. So let's just figure out what happened over here. The Kohanim were carrying the Arim. As soon as the Kohanim stepped into the Yarden, the waters of the Yarden split, and all of Klal Yisrael crossed the Yarden. When they finished crossing, what did the Kohanim do? The Kohanim were carrying the Arim. They stepped back onto the dry land. So the waters of the Yarden started flowing again. So the Yidden had all crossed the Yarden, but the Kohanim who were carrying the Arim were left on the other side of the Yarden. So what did they do? Nasa Arim is Noisa ve'avar. So this is the first, they used to have between England and France, those
hovercraft.
Hovercrafts, right. This is the first hovercraft story. Nasa Arin is Naisa. The Arin carried its carriers, the Avar, and crossed the Yarden. So they just walked over the water, across the Yarden. Shanamar, as it says in the pasuk, Vahikasha Tam Kol Ha'am Laver, when the whole nation finished crossing the Yarden, Vayaver Arein Hashem Ba'Kohanim Lifnei Ha'am. So the Arin of Hashem with the Kohanim passed before the nation. So it just said that when the last Yid left the Yarden, the waters went back, reverted to the way they were before. And now the Kohanim went with the Arin ahead of the Yid. So how did they get there? The Arin carried them across the Yarden. And then Uzzah. And Uzzah was punished because of this. Who's Uzzah? Uzzah is a Kohen who was appointed by David HaMelech to look after the Arim when the Arim was brought to Yerushalayim. When the Arim was brought to Yerushalayim, they made a big parade. And Uzzah and Achyoy, I think it was, that there were the two Kohanim that were appointed to look after the Arim. Shanamar, it says over there in the pasuk, Vayavayu ad Geirin Kidai. They came until the granary of Kidai. Yishlach Uzzah es yadei lechas is Arim. So it says over there, they shamtu habakar, that the cattle slipped. The cattle that were drawing the carriage on which the Arim was sitting. The cattle slipped, and Uzzah grabbed the Arim that it shouldn't fall. Amar le'akadosh baruch hu, so the Eibishter said to Uzzah, neisav nasa. You know what you're dealing with over here? You're dealing with an Arim that when it came time to cross the Yarden, the Arim didn't just manage to get itself over the Yarden. It carried its carriers over the Yarden. Atzmei le'kolshken, you're worried about the Arim itself. You think that you're going to be able to stop the Arim from slipping. The Arim will look after itself. Hashem was angry at Uzzah and smote him right over there. What does al-hashal mean? So Uzzah, as soon as he touched the Arim, he died on the spot. So what does al-hashal mean? So we have a machlekes, Rabbi Yechon and Rabbi Elazar, what it means. One says it was because of his own business. He had his own sins from before that he was punished for. And one said that he behaved disrespectfully to the Arim, and that's why he was punished. Excuse me. Al iske shaloy, Rashi says, shgaga shashagag lechizbei. The very fact that he made this mistake and grabbed hold of the Arim, that's what he was punished for.
Then with the second pirush.
The second pirush holds that he behaved disrespectfully to the Arim.
Why is that al-hashal?
So Rashi says, "Lashon ki yishal zeisecha, ubishil yasa davar hamutel mumayla lamata." So it seems that he moved his bowels in front of the Arim. He was disrespectful to the Arim, and that's why he was punished. And it says that he died there next to the Ark of Hashem. Rabbi Yechanan said, although Uzzah died, he was punished with death, but he came to Elam Haba. Because it says that he died there together with the Arim of Hashem. Just like the Arim will be around forever. Also Uzzah came to the eternal world of Elam Haba. And it says, David was upset about the breach that Hashem breached with Uzzah. So David HaMelech had arranged a whole big celebration of bringing the Arim to Yerushalayim, and the celebration turned into a catastrophe, because as a result of the story with the Arim slipping and Uzzah grabbing hold of it, Uzzah died on the spot, and instead of it being a celebration, it turned into mourning. So David HaMelech was very upset. Rabbi Elazar says, what does it mean? Vayichar l'David. The word vayichar means shenishtanu parav kacharara, and his face became like charara. I think is the bottom of a pot, black like the bottom of a pot. Rashi says charara, is a uf uga she'efen al pnei hagechalim. It's a cake that's baked on coals and turns very, very black. If that's the case, you're going to tell me that wherever the word Vayichar is found in Tanakh, it means that his face became black like a charara? Says the Gemara, Hasam Ksiv Af. The rest of Tanakh, wherever it says the word Vayichar, it says Vayichar Af, which means he got angry. Over here it doesn't say Af. It's very unusual to have the word Vayichar without the word Af. So obviously that means a different meaning. So Vayichar comes from the word charara, that he turned black like a charara. Darash Rabba Darshan. David taught them. David, why was David punished? Why was David punished that his celebration should turn into mourning? Because he referred to the words of Torah as songs. Shenamar, it says in Tilim, Zmirois, the Rebbe's capital, you say every day now. It says, Zmirois hayu lichukecha, neveis megura. Your laws are songs to me. In my place of fear, or my place of wandering. Amar le HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so the Eibishter said to David HaMelech, Divrei Torah shekasav behen hisafei necha bevi einenu, the words of Torah, which are so challenging, that it says that if you blink your eye, it's no longer there. And as you have to really be focused when you learn Torah. And if you remove your mind from it for a moment, it's gone. The you're referring to them as songs. I'm going to cause you to stumble in a matter of Torah, which even young children in Cheder know. It says that when Moshe Rabbeinu was distributing the wagons that the Nesiim brought, he gave 4 of them to the children of Merari, and 2 of them to the children of Gershon. The Bnei Kahas didn't get any. Because the holiest work was theirs, and they had to carry the holiest kelim of the Mishkan on their shoulders. So one of the kelim that the Bnei Kahas carried on their shoulders was the Aron. So even the children in Cheder know that the Aron has to be carried on your shoulders. You don't put the Aron on a wagon. And the Iyu Asya be'eglata, and David HaMelech went and brought the Aron in a wagon. So this was a punishment for the fact that he spoke disrespectfully about the Torah and referred to the Torah as miras, as songs. So the Eibishter said, I'll show you that even a very simple halacha in the Torah, which even young children know, you will get messed up with it. In Tanya, in the Kuntres Achron in Tanya, there's a beautiful chapter, David's Miras Karas Lahu, where it explains what David the Melech had in mind and why he was punished and why Dafka was punished with this kind of punishment. It's a beautiful explanation Alter Rebbe gives in Kuntres Achron in the chapter that begins with the words David's Miras Karas Lahu, quoting from this Gemara. It says that Hashem smitten people of Beis Shemesh because they saw the Aron. Because they saw the Aron, they were deserved to be smitten. So we have Machlekes Rebbe and Rebbe Lazar how to clarify this matter. One says that when they saw the Aron coming, they were working in the fields, they were reaping produce in the fields, so they didn't stop working. They bowed to Hashem in honor of the Aron as they were reaping, as they were harvesting. So because they didn't stop working in honor of the Aron, that's why they were smitten. Chad Amar, and the other one says, Mili Nami Amor. They also spoke disrespectfully to the Aron. They said, Man imrich di imraitu, man asalach de feist. Who upset you that you got angry, and who appeased you that you were appeased? The Jewish people went to war with the Philistines, and they took the Aron with them. As we know that when the Jewish army goes to war, they're supposed to take the Aron with them. And the Aron was conquered by the Philistines. And then the Philistines had a plague came to them as a result of having the Aron. So they took the Aron, they put it on a wagon, and they sent it back. And it made its way to Beit Shemesh. So the people of Beit Shemesh saw the Aron coming. That's where the story that we just quoted took place. So they said to the Aron, who upset you that you got angry and left us, and who appeased you that you came back? In other words, we don't really need you back. So 70 people and 50,000 people were smitten. That's a little bit strange way of putting a number. 70 people and 50,000 people. So Rabbi Bo and Rabbi Lazar. Again, we have a machlekes Rabbi Bo and Rabbi Lazar how to interpret this. Chad Amar, one says Shivim Ish. There were 70 people that were smitten. Shivim Ish hayu. B'chal echad be'echad shakol kachamishim elef. And each one was as chashuv, as important as 50,000. Chad Amar chamishim elef hayu. And some say there were 50,000 people smitten. B'chal echad be'echad shakol k'shivim Sanhedrin. And each one was equivalent to the 70 members of the Sanhedrin. Then it says, going back to the story of the Aron being brought to the Beis Hamikdash, to Yerushalayim, it says, when those who were carrying the Aron stepped 6 steps, So he slaughtered an ox and a meri, another kind of animal. In another pasuk it says that they slaughtered 7 bulls and 7 rams. So how does it work? In Shmuel Beis it says that they slaughtered a sheiru meri, and in Divrei Hayamim it says there were 7 bulls and 7 rams. Amar Papa Bar Shmuel, so Papa Bar Shmuel answered, "Akol psiya psiya sheiru meri." Every step they took, they slaughtered an ox and a meri. What's the translation of meri over there, of Gershon? Gershon Frankel, you still there? What's the translation of meri in your book?
An ox and a fatling, it calls it.
And what does a fatling mean?
Fatling, I'll have a look. Fatling is number 3. It just says with each step. No, doesn't say. It says a fatling is an animal fatted for slaughter.
Okay.
So they have it ready for slaughter. So they make it fatter. So we go further.
They say that it must be a certain type of animal. Amar le Rav Chisda. So Rav Chisda said to him, on every step they shechted a sheiru meri, and every 6 steps they shechted 7 bulls and 7 rams, and you filled up the whole Eretz Yisrael with bamos, with private mizbechos. Rav Chisda said that can't be what it means. It must mean al kol sheish v'sheish psiyas sheiru meri. On every 6 steps they slaughtered an ox and a fatling. Al kol shishas darim shel sheish psiyas. Every 6 groups of 6 steps. Shiva panim v'shiva elu. Ksiv kidoin uksiv nochain. So the story is mentioned twice in Tanakh, once in Divrei Hayamim and once in Shmuel. So in one place it says that it was by the Gaardאן Kidoin, it was by the granary of Kidoin. Another place it says nochain. So which one was it, Kidoin or nochain? Amar Rabbi Yechanan said that Tchila Kidoin ulebesoif nochain. When the Aron originally arrived, it was like a Kidoin, like a spare, because it killed Uzzah. But then when it stayed there for 6 months in the house of Eved Edom, and it brought bracha to his house, then it became Nochain. Okay, so back to the story with the stones that were taken out of the Yarden. So it works out that there were 3 types of stones that were taken out. Echad shehekim Moshe be'arvis mayav, I think what does the Aleph say? Be'eved hayarden be'eretz mayav. We have 1 set of stones that Moshe Rabbeinu himself put up on the east bank of the Jordan, in the land of Moav. Shenemar be'eved hayarden be'eretz mayav hayil Moshe be'ir v'gemer. That on the other side of the Jordan, in the land of Moav, Moshe explained the entire Torah very well, which means he explained it in 70 languages. And it says further, you should write upon the stones all the words of the Torah. We learn Agzera Shava from the word Bayer over here to the word Bayer over there. So we know that on the stones they held the whole Torah written. There's 1 set of stones that Yeshua put up in the Yarden. There was 12 stones that Yeshua set up inside the Yarden. And 1 that was put up in Gilgal, which is the place where they spent the first night after crossing the Yarden. These 12 stones which they took. The Rabbanan learned in the Braisa. How did the Yidden write the Torah on these 12 stones? Rabbi Yehuda says they wrote it on the stones. You should write on the stones all the words of the Torah. And then they smeared lime over the words, over the writing. Shimon said to him, according to you, that they put lime over the words. So how did the Goyim get to learn the Torah? The purpose of writing it was that it was written in 70 languages so that everybody can read it. But if on top of the writing they put lime, so it's impossible for them to be able to read it.
Lime would obstruct the writing.
The lime would cover over the writing.
Lime is like what? Cement?
Cement.
Okay.
Amar Loi, so he said to him, Bini Yasei Nasim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter gave the nations extra wisdom. Meshigru Nutrikin Shalahem, Nutirin Shalahem. They sent their agents. The Kilfu Asasid, they peeled off the lime. Visiua, and they copied it over. Because of this, their judgment was sealed to the pit, to the depths. They had an opportunity to read the Torah that was written there. They could have learned from it, and the Kav Shtiklach mentioned, and they had the opportunity and they wasted it. Therefore, their Gzardin was sealed. Reb Shimon says they wrote it on top of the lime. So you had the stones were covered with lime, and on top of the lime was written the Torah in 70 languages. And they wrote underneath it, in order that the reason why the Goyim in Eretz Yisrael have to be killed is that they shouldn't teach you all their abominations. So from here it's implied that if the Knainim would have done tshuva and stopped doing their abominable actions, they would have accepted them. The only reason they need to be eradicated, annihilated, is because they're going to be a bad influence on the Yidden. But if they would do tshuva and accept Hashem's authority and become, Geidim Teishavim at least, stop serving Avodah Zarah and be prepared to live like the Yidden would dictate to them, that would have been fine. Amar Rabbi Bar Shila, my time at Reb Shimon. Rabbi Bar Shila says, what's the reason that Reb Shimon says that it was written on top of the line? Because it says in the pasuk, the nations will be the burning of lime. Al iskesid, meaning that they'll be destroyed because of the lime, because of the Torah which was written on the lime, and they didn't learn it and take a lesson from it. Rabbi Yehuda kisid, Rabbi Yehuda, who says that it was written on the stones and they put the line over the writing, he will say that Misr Sid means like lime. Mas Sid ain't like takana l'sreifa, just like lime. Can't do anything with it except burn it. So these goyim, the only thing that will help them, the only thing that will fix them is being burnt in Gehenna. Keman Ozla Hadatanya. So who does the following Braisa follow? It says in the Braisa, V'shavisa Shivya, when you come to Eretz Yisrael and you conquer their captivity, L'rabes Knainim Shebachutz La'aretz. So it talks about when you go to Kiseitzel HaMelchama Aloivecha, when you go out to war against your enemy. And over there, it's not talking about conquering Eretz Yisrael. It's talking about expanding Eretz Yisrael beyond. So it says that if you go to war against your enemy, and Hashem gives them in your hand, and you will take its captives. So obviously, when it says we'll take its captives, we're not talking about Eretz Yisrael, because Eretz Yisrael you can't take captives. You have to annihilate people in Eretz Yisrael. It's talking about the other countries outside of Eretz Yisrael. So why does it have to say V'shavisa Shivya? If it's talking outside Eretz Yisrael, you never thought that you have to annihilate them. Why can't you take captives? Of course you can take captives. So the Gemara says, the reason that the Torah says V'shavisa Shivya is to tell you that the Kanainim who are in Chutz La'aretz, they can be taken as captive. If they're prepared to do tshuva and become Geidim Teishavim, you can accept them. So, Keman, who does this follow? We had a machlekes Rabbi Yehuda and Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon said that it's al iskei sid, that the goyim will perish because of the story of the sid, because they should have read what it says in the Torah and taken a lesson from it, and they didn't. Which means that if they do take the lesson from it, they can survive. You can leave them. But Rabbi Yehuda says that there's nothing, no hope for them. Ein lam takana el sreifa. So this braisa, which says that the Knainim Shebachutz La'aretz can be accepted if they do tshuva, goes according to Reb Shimon, who says that if they chazer b'tshuva, we accept them. Okay, that is it for today. And Amir Hashem tomorrow's Friday, so we're going to learn at 2:00 tomorrow.
Okay, sehr gut.
Good.
Shkoyach.
Kayak.
Pleasure.